Hello, my friend. This is Heather. This is another episode of the Back to Me podcast. And this is one of my amazing human celebrity editions. And this is Liz Carroll. And she has created the mindful money method. And she's working away at helping at least 500 women. I mean, I tried to convince her to do 500,000 women to help them create their own financial independence. And I think it's such a great thing when women have financial independence because then they can go out into the communities and create a better world. Have a listen. If you enjoyed the episode, share it with your friends and talk to your girlfriends and let's make the world a better place. Take care. I will see you soon. Hi, my friends. Welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and this is Heather, and I am super excited that you're here. You are going to hear some tips and some tricks and some ideas to help you live your happiest and healthiest self. I call it Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, back to me, then you can take better care of others, and we can all make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way, and I am super happy that you're here. Hello, my friends. How are you doing? This is Heather again. I just keep showing up. This is the Back to Me podcast, and this is the super awesome human edition, the celebrity chat edition. And the super awesome human this week, I have a special treat for you, is Liz Carroll. And you created the mindful money method. And I was saying earlier, I love alliteration. So my gosh, my brain just goes crazy. But when we first talked, you told me how you kind of got into this. And I always find that fascinating. How did you decide to start? How did you create this thing? And what was that journey all about?
Well, I kind of, in a way, stumbled upon it when you think about it, because I knew that I was going to set myself up to leave my corporate career early, to be able to retire early. And so I started that plan back in 97. So that was a long time ago, a 20-year plan. I had no idea that I would ever be teaching other women about personal finance or financial wellness. But what happened is I set myself up to be able to retire early. And I thought, well, what am I going to do in my next? So one of my girlfriends pointed out to me that, you're really good at this, creating plans and around personal finances. And so she asked me to speak at it was like a napkin workshop, she called it. It was, and I'm like, I can't be the speaker. I'm not an expert at that. So she's like, yes, you are. You've done it yourself. You've set yourself up for, financial independence. And so needless to say, I chickened out and I went, okay,
Oh,
I
no.
immediately Googled, how do I get certified? Like, how do I become a certified financial coach? And I had used Dave Ramsey's method, the baby steps, for my own personal wealth building. And so it was a natural that I got certified through Dave's program. And so my husband said, wait a second, if you're doing that, I want to do it too. So we both got certified with Dave. We went down to Nashville and met with him personally and his team. And so we're in the state of Oregon.
All right.
And so anytime someone would call into his show and ask about how do I get this, and they wanted more coaching or extra work, he'd, kind of be like, call the Carrolls. This is, Dan and I. And so needless to say, we were coaching lots of couples because we were a couple coaching other couples. And I kept noticing that there was a recurring theme of some of these couples. And very often it had to do with the sense of security.
Right.
Typically, it was the wife that was feeling insecure about their financial future. And we could create an amazing, beautiful plan for them, and that would have them debt-free and all these things. But if you didn't feel it, you weren't going to do it.
Right.
And so then I decided I was going to take my training a step further. And I'm already a yoga meditation teacher in addition, so I already that. And I was the financial coach. So then I decided to go get my life coach certification so that I could really understand the mind. And that is how the mindful money method came about, because it's a holistic approach to finances. It was designed specifically with women in mind. It was designed so that we can cultivate that feeling of security regardless of the circumstances. And once we start feeling secure, we start acting secure. And there's so many good things that come out of that. So
Right.
long explanation there. But I created something that I saw a need for. And now I love expanding the financial wellness circle for women, because if we feel good about money, then we're doing good about money, and it just serves all of us, and it enhances all of our relationships.
Right. And you actually answered, because I was going to say, so did you switch over from couples just to women? But I guess you've kind of answered that. So now you focus, does your husband still coach?
Occasionally, he and I will coach specifically on real estate investing, because
Oh,
that is how we built our wealth outside of our 9 to 5s.
right, right.
And, so he does sometimes, but I have started coaching couples on my own as well. So using the method, it's a 9-step approach to money with math. And then of course the mindset, but it's very soul based. I bring a lot of the, meditation and mindfulness into the program. So
And it's so true that if you can give anybody a plan for anything.
yeah.
I mean, I've spoken with, people who are talking about trying to lose weight and trying to take care of yourself. If you don't believe it, doesn't matter. It's not going to work, right? So being able to have that faith and the trust that you that it's right and that it's okay. Like I think was it you who I was talking to who was like money seemed like it was something that was bad almost for
Oh,
some people. It's like
right.
how do you get out of that space? I guess it's in our vernacular uh, in North America as what is it? Money is the root of all evil, which apparently is misquoted. But
Yeah.
but it's like I guess you have to include that kind of shift of it's actually not bad. It's
No, in fact, it's wonderful. And what happens, you're correct, though. I do come across this quite often, that women repel money,
hmm,
and that they don't realize that they're repelling money with their thoughts about it, or with the attachment they have to an existing money story. So part of the method is we actually do quiet down. This is a little bit through meditation, but we quiet down and we uncover what is that money story that's playing in the back of our mind. Like, what radio station are we listening to
right.
about money? And then we observe it and we actually rewrite it. So we clarify that money story to, is it what we want? What did we inherit it from someone else? Did we take on someone else's beliefs about money that we really, if once we get quiet, discover what we're thinking, is that the one we want to serve us going forward?
Do you
So,
find commonality in them when you're doing that? Like, do people share what's happening or is it all
yeah,
internal?
a lot of women particularly have felt that money has been punitive to them in some way,
Oh,
like, was maybe held back from them for some behavior or something. And so once we can go, does that serve you? Does thinking that serve you? Or or that if they have money, someone else will get less? That's the other thing that comes up.
right.
And that's really not how the universe works. So we have to do a little education there. And once they start looking at from a bigger picture, like the source of those beliefs, then they can really make the shifts and change the story so that they're the heroine and a much happier ending
Right.
for their story.
And it's funny that you say that, they think that someone else is going to lose out. I always think of the line that it's not pie. Yeah,
Yeah.
right? It's like just because you take a piece doesn't mean there's less for other people. It's an
No.
endless supply, actually. So, take what you need, and you're not removing anything from anyone, which is sometimes a hard shift, right?
Yes, and a lot of people are like, I don't know if I'm gonna believe that yet." But then once they start experiencing some of the opportunities that come to them as they open up their, it's like restorative yoga. It's like if your shoulders are hunched over all the time and all of a sudden you start doing, um, you know, heart opener exercises, all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, I'm breathing better." It's
Even
this
if you didn't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like now they start seeing opportunities coming their ways, whether it's in the form of a promotion or found money or there's so many things that miraculous stories actually that I have
Right.
witnessed. Yeah.
But and I think we call them miraculous because you can't explain them in our logical left brain way of where things come from. It's just,
Yeah.
how did this happen? I was talking to a decluttering coach, and I was because we were talking about how physical clutter, clutters your mind and can clutter your ability to bring more things into your space. And I told her the story that one day I was cleaning off my desk because I had listened to this other decluttering person, and I found $100 in an envelope. I'm like, I don't even know how that got there. Like, how is that even possible that just because I was decluttering, poof, the universe
Wow.
dropped an envelope of money on me? You don't, and the humans, I guess, like explanations for things, right? But do you really need the explanation, or can you just trust it and go with it?
Well, I will tell you that I just wrapped up on Monday with one client.
Hmm.
It was the first time I've done a husband and wife just on my own for over the 9-week course. And interestingly enough, you said trusting, right? Their result, I asked them now, how are you feeling today, having gone through this entire process and method? And their words to each other were connected. I feel much more connected, and I feel so much more trusting.
Oh, that's good.
And I'm like, okay, if they could, after a 20-year marriage, if they can feel that now regarding finances, I'm like, all right, my work is done here. That is
Yeah.
absolutely, that's like mic drop, all right, stepping out now. So,
Yeah, that's amazing, and that's so important too. Like, there are things that we, you know, just taboo to talk about money.
yeah,
So how do you have an open conversation with the person that you live with if you think that you're not allowed to talk about those things?
yeah.
It's not polite company, it's not appropriate. And how do you feel comfortable in that relationship? So that's amazing for them. Like, that's so good.
It was really good. I also had another client the other day. She's a 28-year-old woman, high achieving. A lot of the women I coach are high achieving and want to make sure they're setting themselves up, with their income. And she told me about how she has just really eliminated the impulsive desires that she was having for spending money to kind of
Huh,
feel good, whether that was an extra massage or an extra pair of Lululemon leggings or whatever it was. She's just absolutely been able to eliminate that desire because she has her eye on the bigger prize. Like she
right.
sees the goal. We were able to set some pretty impressive goals with her, and we did all the math to see that she could get there. And right now she's like, I have no desire for more home decor or things that, little bits here and there. But she's like, that's not where my money's going. My money's going now to the big prize.
So there's no, what did they call it? Retail therapy?
Yeah. Well, and if there is, there's a lot of awareness around it and it's intentional. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes, yes.
and I absolutely believe in treating, yourself. I just encourage them to plan it ahead. That's all.
Right. It's almost like you're trying to re introduce delayed gratification,
It's absolutely what I do, actually.
right?
It's absolutely, and that I help them discover it themselves in that it feels so much better.
Right.
So it takes a little pause. We have to pause and feel all those emotions that were driving us to go into maybe retail therapy or impulsive spending, or online shopping. Online shopping through COVID has become, a lot of people aren't able to pay their credit cards in full now because they've done some damage during.
Well, and you can get it instantly,
Yes, I
like
know.
the next day. So we've forgotten delayed gratification, and it was our distraction method if we weren't using other things.
Yep.
And now we've got this new habit we formed. It's like, no, you guys,
Yeah.
this isn't the
No, this
healthiest
is
way to be.
and it's not for the long run. We see that with, we've gone to way over conveniencing ourselves, and it's available to us, but it doesn't give us the long-term result we want for the over conveniencing, whether it's, Starbucks delivered to your door. I mean, when you really put in the math around that convenience, you may not like it when you see it on paper.
It's interesting. I've had conversations with my husband mostly about how the world is being destroyed mostly because we need everything to be so convenient. It's like
Mhm.
everything instantly, and it has to be super convenient. Anytime that takes a little bit of effort, we there's a tendency now to avoid it, even though I think effort makes something so much more satisfying in the
Ah,
end.
well, I've been a long time quilter, so I'll tell you what, that is for sure true. When, you spend hours on a project, I mean, that is a love when you're done with it, for sure.
Right? I have a friend who hand sewed a quilt during COVID,
Yeah.
like the whole thing, every stitch. I was like, wow, that that's a dedication, right?
Oh, I hope she put a label on it that she did it during COVID, so it'll be a
Right?
treasure, yeah.
So, so good. But it's true. I mean, um, I'm reading a book right now where he's talking about how the um, the things you want in life, you can visualize this positive outcome. But if you're not willing to do the work or the steps involved in getting there, then it's just some interesting fantasy. So it's like you have to dedicate yourself to the consistency and what it's going to take to get you to that place that you're visualizing. So I guess the your method is, how long did you say? 9 weeks? Wow.
It's 9 weeks, yeah, 9 modules. I drip it once, one lesson a week just because I want it to be absorbed. I mean, you could zip through it, but I don't think that then we're not putting it into practice. And then on the back end, I have a support and accountability group after the course.
Oh, that's good.
So that we're continuing to keep working the method, so that it's ingrained, it becomes unconscious then, that's
And it does take time. I know there's studies that say, I can't remember, 6 weeks, like how
yeah.
long it takes to incorporate a new habit because it's so easy to slide.
Oh, and it is, and particularly when we've got a primitive brain that hasn't evolved
Right.
to, that's all the seek pleasure, avoid pain, and do as little effort as possible, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um, that definitely sneaks in there, and I do address it with the method. I address constantly that your brain's going to tell you this is too hard, you don't want to do it, and it isn't. It's so worth it. I can tell you, there's an old saying that's like, nothing tastes as good as thin feels. Like I remember that back from, like, the 90s.
Yeah.
And I think about that is like, are you kidding? Having financial freedom is amazing. It's, like, so good. I want everyone to be able to have that feeling, and it does take a little shift. It takes a little time, but
And I
it's
think
worth it.
some people almost don't believe that it's a possibility,
Oh, I think
right?
78% of the country, I'm in the United States, but I think 78% of people don't think it's
Yeah.
possible.
And something that came to me was I was wondering, and I don't know if this is still a truth, that sometimes I have known women in my life who just thought, "Oh, I'm not gonna even be bothered because, my partner's gonna look after that," or that's not my role in this relationship," or "That's too hard," or do you remember when Barbie came out and said, "Math is hard?" I mean, I know they got in big trouble for that,
Yeah.
but do you find that there's an education component that has to come sometimes?
Absolutely. And I feel like I do an amazing job holding the belief for in them until they can believe it themselves. I think that's one of the greatest gifts I give my students is that I absolutely believe that they are capable. And there's a lot of education involved, particularly around the math. Like, how does math work for you? And interest paid is a penalty, interest earned is a reward. So we might need to have just a little pause so we can switch that up so that you're earning the reward and your money is working for you. So it's not only you working, but it's your money can work for you also. And that is amazing. Like, I look at it and I'm like, okay, my money every day, whether I do anything, I mean, literally nothing, my money's making me at least $500 a day.
That's pretty major.
But
And we're talking American dollars.
Yeah. This is where you can get to. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
they often just don't understand how that is even possible.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so once we map it out, then it becomes okay, let's go for it.
And it's not, and I think about, and I was talking about this with someone, how during COVID and everything had to be on social, it seemed like everybody was overnight, I'm making $10,000 a day. And, but it wasn't real. And it wasn't an overnight thing. You don't know what they did or what the background was of what they were doing to, maybe they were making $10,000 a day. Who knows? But it wasn't suddenly overnight they were doing it.
Well, and
So,
I can attest to you, this was not overnight for me. This has been a long time real estate business being built on the side of the 9 to 5. So,
right.
yeah, long time.
And still, and being, it's almost like being like the rewards of celebrating even the small pieces, because I remember way back, The Wealthy Barber, that was a long time ago. Do you remember that book at
I don't
all?
remember.
It was like this little, I think it was like the 80s. It was a little book, The Wealthy Barber, and he was trying to teach people how the baby steps almost. It was like teaching people about compounding interest. It's like,
Yeah.
start now, and the little baby steps get bigger and bigger as you grow up. But it's somehow gotten lost into the ethers because now everybody wants this quick hit and like, I'm an instant millionaire overnight.
Well, and one of the things that I think has been interesting also is about having money. The most fun I've ever had with money is giving it away. So that's, as you're able to start that process and build wealth, then it becomes so much more fun being able to help others.
Well, and there's someone that I listen to who talks about that very thing. And he said, um, some people think, money is evil, but you can help so many more people. The more you have, the more you can help whatever it is that's important to you, whatever you see as somewhere where there's a need. You can give that what it needs to help more people. And then it just keeps paying forward, right?
It does. And it seems like the law of attraction or abundance, it all just comes back to you. So it just becomes more fun.
Right. Yeah. That's so good. And I know that, how many people, do you do a limit on the number of people in your groups at a time, or do you?
I have been limiting to 25 in the group, but that isn't necessary. It could go long, more. I teach it live. So I give a
Oh, do you?
live option. And so I just want to make sure that I'm able in the allotted time to answer questions. So it doesn't have to be limited. It's just that I love to have, a high customer experience and success.
Yeah. It's interesting trying I mean, we've created this amazing world where we can learn so much and connect with so many people online, but you can get lost in those online groups. I was just curious because I've been in those big groups where it's like,
Yeah.
you're this little box in the corner and nobody sees you. And
No. My ultimate goal to create the ripple that I want to have in the world is I would love 500 women to know the method. So originally the first method was 4 weeks, and I realized it just wasn't enough. It didn't address enough math. It was really mindset based, and it didn't address relationships. So when I
Oh,
created the mindful money method earlier in 2022, I included a module on relationships, like how to talk to your loved ones about money, and a little bit about expectation modification and understanding what you're thinking and feeling about someone else and their money, and how you respond to someone thinking and feeling about your money. So
right.
it's a great module. So that I added that, and then I did a lot more work on the math part, just so that people could see what is their number to create financial independence where work is optional for them. So we do that for every person, even if they're in debt. Like even if they have debt, we still figure out that dream number, so that that's enough for the rest of their life. And it gives them a ability to shift their thought process. Like it is possible.
Well, and I really like that, like, no matter, this is kind of most, I'd say all coaching. It's like, if you don't know where you're going to go, where you want to go, well,
No,
you're not going to get there. Like, it's not
no.
just going to magically drop on you. And you do need to be realistic and say, where are you today? Even if it's not where you, obviously, it's not where you want to be if you want something different. But even if you don't like looking at it, you need a measure. Like,
Yeah.
how far is the road? And
Yeah.
then how will we get there? Because
And
we,
there's so many different routes up the mountain. I'm a yogi, so when we think about the mountain, and everyone choose their own path. It's like you don't have to. I don't by any means teach one route.
right,
I teach you to discover through the soul, your heart center, what is the right route for you. And that gives everyone the space and grace for their own discovery. And so every plan that comes out, it's called a freedom and relief plan, is the result of the 9 weeks. It's a physical plan that you receive based on your unique situation, and or that you create more than receive. I would say it's that you create. And it gives you, like, at least it sets your GPS as to where you're going, but it
right.
doesn't necessarily tell what route you're gonna take. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah. When we drive anywhere, we'll make a turn and the GPS will say recalculating.
Yeah, and you know what? Life is gonna bring us things that come up. We're gonna have to recalculate along the way. That freedom and relief plan, and the reason I called it a freedom and relief plan, because it's relief in knowing, like, just knowing the awareness. That's why, mindful money, it's the awareness is mindfulness, basically,
Yeah.
awareness. And then it's the freedom from worry, because once we have that knowing, then we don't worry about it so much, and that energy shifts into creation, to where we earn so much more money. I can tell you that the women that have gone through the method, they end up making so much more money. I had one woman she was uh, doubled her prices with her clients, and not didn't lose one of them. It was unbelievable. So her income increased in 2 times. And then I have other women that have received anywhere from $30,000 to $70,000 annual income increase, just by being really clear and having that vision for themselves, and then selecting their route. And sometimes that means changing your job,
Right.
but now they know what they're going for.
And they probably are valuing themselves enough to say, this is what I'm worth,
Yeah,
because the self-value comes into that as well, right? I'm sure.
it does. And just know that ability to know, and not spend so much energy worrying about money. When we start putting that energy, I call, the hashtag I love to use is more love, less worry. Because I feel that when you love money, money loves you back.
Right?
And so when they start that less worry, there's just so much more love. And that's when obviously we get rewarded.
Yeah, I think you made me think of Jen Sincero's book, and I can't remember why, but
Oh, yeah. She's, what no, she's,
You're a badass.
yes, with money. Yeah, she has,
Yeah.
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 The other one that some people bring up, thinking about this is, Get Rich, Lucky Bitch by,
Yes.
Denise, Duffield Thomas. Yeah,
Yes.
she's got some of this. We we all have a different flavor of that, and mine is a little unique just because it's so heavily into mindfulness, so
Well, and I mean, I find this of all coaches as well, no matter because I belong to a community of coaches. We
mhm.
all coach, but we're all so different.
Yeah,
So I listen to all of them. Like I listen to Jen, I listen to Denise, I listen to so many of them because no matter how many times I hear it, I'm going to hear something different and I'm going to understand something different. And I'm in a different place and it's a different day. And I like I it's like you were saying you like to drip out your course. I need that percolation integration time. So if I
yeah.
hear it from one person and then I percolate, and then I hear it from another person and then I percolate, I just trust that it's all weaving itself into me
Yeah.
somehow. And I'll come out at a better person at the end of the day.
Well,
Rinse
you
and repeat.
certainly will. You know, you talk about something that I love, and this is something that in my support and accountability group that we do is we read together. So I run a book club through the support and
Cool.
accountability. So we there's themes. You know, I'm a pretty organized person, but we have content themes, and then each month we read the book. Many of the books I've read before over the years, and I so enjoy rereading them and getting something new out of the books. Um, and then some I haven't read before, which has been really fun too, because it's that discovery with the group at the
I'm
same time.
curious, what books have you been had in the book club?
Okay, we have had, of course, we've got some habit books because that's one of the things is tracking your expenses is really important, and that's developing that habit muscle. So Atomic Habits, of course,
Yeah.
is one of our favorites. I love Kamal Ravikant's book. In February last year, we read Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It.
Oh, yes, that one.
So
Alright.
good. If I had to pick my top 5, those 2 would be on there. This year, some of the other ones that we have read is It's Not Your Money by Tosha Silver.
Oh, I don't
I
know
don't
that
know if
one.
you It's another great book. Um, and we have read The Psychology of Money this year in January because that's a new one that just came out by Morgan Housel. So that was great. And of course, Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards, because in June we do a theme on career.
Okay.
So she's really great about engaging conversations, which I think is very helpful with your career. Let's see. This month we are reading the Four Agreements, so classic.
Right.
And
Totally
then,
classic.
yeah, last October in the classic field or theme, we read The Alchemist.
Oh,
So
right, another classic.
yes, and then December last year we read The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown.
Oh, nice.
It was a
Sh
great December read.
Yeah.
I just finished November's book. It was a new book that I hadn't read before, and it was Feeding the Soul by Tabitha Brown.
Oh,
And it's about her experience going to becoming a vegan.
wow.
So really wasn't related to money, uh, and yet it is because it's about overall health, and so it's all integrated. And so that anyway, we've read a million, I mean, not a million, but we've read a lot of books, and I'm right now deciding the books, the lineup for 2023. So hopefully
Right,
those
yeah,
will be out.
2020 is I still somehow sometimes some days I'm stuck as 2020 still. I'm sure that it's like what happens to a lot of people is I remember when we were trying to celebrate the end of 2020, we're like, "Yeah, we're starting a new year." Oh, no,
Yeah.
nothing changed,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
And
I
we
think
all
we
kinda
all felt that.
stalled. We stalled there somehow. But yes, it's 2023 is around the corner, and you have coming up in January, what day?
The 10th,
The
January the
10th.
10th will be my first live class for the Mindful Money Method, and I am thrilled. I cannot wait for more women to experience the method and watch and see the shift in their overall life. So many, it's one thing once we clean up money. so many other things happen that, you lose the weight, you get pregnant, whatever there's been the delay, you find the relationship, or you repair the relationship.
Well,
It's just
because it's a if this is always worrying about that, there's no
Mhm.
space for anything else, right? If you're
Yeah.
always have that underlying simmer of worry, take that out and it makes room, right?
It's so true. It's so true. I've seen it over and over again. Like I said, I was a coach for many years before I created the method, and I've learned from all of those coaching sessions what it takes to make the shift, and the shift that sticks.
Right.
And so I know the method works. I see it over and over again with the women that have gone through. And with this first couple, I did that experiment, and I was really happy with it.
Right.
And they were one-on-one. They didn't come through the live course.
Right.
I do limit my one-on-one clients to 4 at a time. I am in my retirement, right?
Yeah.
So this is my
Twice.
encore career. Yeah, this is so.
I think you should aim higher. I think you should get this out to like 500,000 women.
Well, and you know what? That could be my 2023 goal. Right now, 2022 is 500.
Okay. Okay. Baby steps, as we say,
Yeah.
baby steps, right? We'll start dripping out more and more. Well, it's like our interest, compounding interest will compound the women who are benefiting from your program. So good.
And
Uh,
the thing
yeah,
is I do think that it will ripple there, because girlfriends tell girlfriends about, and if we can get that untabooing, just I think that's not a word, but
we'll
you know,
make it a word.
if we could get it so that more women are talking to their girlfriends about money, that will be 500,000.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I talked to a coach recently who wanted to get his number to 1 million. And I
Oh,
thought, whoa, aim high early. But he's
yeah.
just, and right now he's only at 2 or 3, but he's like, I'm going to hit 1 million. I'm like,
Oh,
okay, let's do it.
well,
Right.
my mentor, I went to the life coach school, so my mentor is Brooke Castillo, and
Oh, right.
yeah, she has absolutely hit those numbers. So I'm thinking, it's pretty
It's,
exciting.
it's achievable. It's
It is. It's
achievable.
doable.
Totally. So I'm going to make sure. So my friends in the show notes, oh, wait, but well, I'll say this. So make sure that you connect, check out the upcoming launch, because you don't want to miss your chance to be one of the 500. But before we tootle off, I'm always curious. Do you have any final words of wisdom? Mm,
My final word of wisdom for the increasing the financial wellness circle is to get in touch with your own personal values and desires. So often when I ask women, what do they want their money to do for them? They say, I don't know.
whoa.
And so if we can know, and then we can build a plan that will get you there so fast, but we need to know.
Yeah, that's a big first step for people to really be able to do that. So that's an awesome, awesome thing. Thank you so much for that. I love the words of wisdom.
Well, I love it too. This is my passion work. This is absolutely, I feel like I was chosen for this work, and I love delivering it. So
Amazing. So thank you. Thank you so much for coming and sharing all of this and spending some time and just, yes, all of your energy and ideas and wisdom. So grateful for you. Thank you so much.
thank you, Heather. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
And my friends out in podcast land, click the links. They're in the show notes. They're somewhere above, below. I can never remember. It depends on where you're watching it. But definitely connect, because the more we improve our wellness, all the aspects of wellness, the better the world gets, right? Thank you, my friends. Have an amazing day, and I will see you again soon. Hi, my friend. Thanks so much for listening to this entire podcast. If you found it useful and you're like me and you like helping others, please feel free to share this. Give it a like, give it a comment. If you found something useful in it, there's a chance that someone else will find something useful as well. Also, if you have any questions at all, I can absolutely help, and I would love to help. You can email me at heather@prosperityflowcoaching.com. If you want more of this awesome content, you can follow me on Instagram, Heather Stewart Coaching. You can follow me on Facebook, Prosperity Flow Coaching. And I have a personal request. I want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. And if you could give me a review, hopefully a good one, if you could share, if you could send this out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope that you find your way to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend.